Everybody online can hear as well. So welcome everybody to BN by the Numbers. It's great to be back in the recently renovated Bone Student Center. I hate to admit it, I was a student here about 20 years ago, and I was waiting to actually pass my daughter in the hallway because she goes here now. And I was feeling very, very old walking in here. And also, just to start things off, in case everybody wants to leave, there is no update on Samsung. Still here? Okay, Eric's gonna stick around too. Okay, so now we got that out of the way. I know. Thanks to our sponsors, Sierra, of course. We got some great updates from them on here. Illinois State University, same thing. Double GLT, Cumulus Radio, Serban, The Bull, Cities 92.9, and Magic 99.5. If you don't know me, welcome. I am the CEO of the Bloomington-Normal Economic Development Council. My name is Patrick Hoban. As a graduate from Millikan University, I went through the Economic Development Finance Professional Designation course by National Development Council, which means I can take a deal and we can run the numbers and see if there's going to be a good return or not. Too many times in economic development, there's a lot of examples. Wisconsin's got a pretty bad one where they overextend themselves and don't get their return. So we always run an economic impact analysis to make sure that we're going to get dollars back to the community since we're giving up public dollars. I went through the Economic Development Institute for the University of Oklahoma. Nick is actually going, is that tomorrow? You're flying down there? Yeah, so he's going through it too. It's a 3-year course to get through, but once you have gone through all 3 years, you can actually sit to take the Certified Economic Developer course and get that designation through IEDC. And a couple of weeks ago in Nashville, I was actually a grader on the exam. So it was really cool to go full circle. And not to scare you, Nick, but I think the pass rate in Nashville was only about 11%. It's usually about 33%. It's not easy. I did not make it through the first time, even though the graders were arguing over some of my comments. But hopefully I can help them getting through it. It is hard. And we do have 2 new staff members that are not with us today because they're actually taking the basic economic development course. It's 5 Thursdays in a row, and it's really a crash course on everything that you think you know about economic development, but you don't. And if anyone in this room, since you're here and you're interested in what's going on in economic development, I highly recommend taking that course. It's through Southern Illinois University, and I don't think it costs very much at all, maybe $500, but it's a really good course. And then after that, I finished up at the University of Notre Dame with a master's in business analytics. And I try not to go too deep into the numbers during this and talk about what we're doing, but we can definitely go as deep as anybody wants, except for the press. All right, so today's theme, I always like to theme all these, is about basically the evolution of our economy right now. We are definitely changing. So fall is gonna be the theme because it's fall and it's gorgeous outside. We'll follow the same format that we have before, where we take a look at the impact of our numbers, how local leadership reacted, and then also, what's that one say? Participants can now see my screen. Hopefully they can see the entire time. And then how we adapted afterwards, or we're going to be moving forward. So overall, same thing, fall theme. We'll start with the impact. Looking at overall employment, I always like to point out 2 numbers. Sometimes they get a little bit confusing. I'm gonna try it again. All right. Test. It's always weird to hear your voice because in my head, it's not this deep. Okay. All right, so the 2 that we look at are the local area unemployment statistics and the current employment statistics. LAUS is based off of our residents, regardless of where they work. So that could be anyone that lives in McLean County, and they could be working online for someone in Texas. That's the employment numbers for them. Current employment statistics are very important to the EDC because those are the jobs that are here, regardless of where the people live. So first, and then here's the inflow and the outflow from 2017. Actually, there's newer data out. I need to update this map. And also, I always like to point this out because whenever we talk about the MSA, most of the data sets for our metropolitan statistical area include DeWitt County. So anything that's in the Census Bureau, people always ask, like, why are they on there? Well, you need to go talk to the feds and maybe we can kick them out. But for right now, they're included in our data. So local area unemployment statistics. Again, these are people that live in Bloomington-Normal. They could work in Champaign. They could work in Texas. They could work right here. And back to this slide, that's the number that is the 57,000 and the 28,000 combined. So local area unemployment statistics. I was really hoping for better numbers. honestly, like whenever some of these numbers came out, this is not what I expected at all. So this is what I'm gonna talk about with the theme of being the change that's coming. You can see last year, when it comes to unemployed, it definitely spiked during the pandemic. We know that there's tons of available jobs right now. So I expected the unemployment to start dropping. It definitely has, and we are lower than most places, but it's still not where we need to be. There, in my mind, there's no reason there should be 4,700 people on unemployment right now with the amount of job openings that we have in our community. Employment-wise, this is the one that's a little baffling. And I was talking about this before. Whenever you take a deeper dive into some of the industries in this, I understand what it did last year. I understand that it dropped and a lot of people got laid off. But whenever we start going back up, we expected to pass them by now because so many jobs have been created. And if you take a deeper dive into actual jobs that are around here, it's literally baffling to me. One of them might be because, again, LAUS is measured by where you live. So right now there's a ton of people, if you go by the hotels, that are getting picked up every single day by a Timmy's tour bus. They're not our residents. They don't put down the hotel as an address. So we're assuming that they're being counted in California's, maybe Detroit's, maybe Italy's, somewhere else from our friends at Ferrero. But that number should definitely be much higher than what it is right now. So those combined create the labor force, the employed and the unemployed combined. And this is where I would understand if the unemployment is down, but it should not be by this much. Like we should definitely be higher right now. We'll get into a little bit of some of the things that we're working on to try to improve that. To get the unemployment rate, which is the big one where we compare each other, it is a ratio. So you take the employed plus the unemployed to get your labor force, then you divide the unemployed on top of it. We're the bottom of the state. We're normally right at the bottom, which is a great number to have. But again, if the workforce isn't there, we're not going to land some of these really big deals that have been mentioned before, and we'll talk about a little bit later. Now, the current employment statistics are really vital for us because those are the jobs that are here whenever we're helping create an environment for people to add more jobs, like Ferrero's 50 new jobs, Rivian's 3,100 jobs. These are the jobs that we're really looking at. So these are the ones that are, 57,000 residents that are working here and living here, and plus people coming in from the outside area every single day. This one, again, we're down 500 compared to last year. I do not understand how this could be where it's at. And I did not print out the slide or I ran the numbers, but if you break it down by category, it'll say right now in manufacturing that there's 3,000 people working in manufacturing. That's impossible. There's 3,100 at Rivian alone. So I'm like, where is everybody else? Where is Brandt? Where is Bridgestone? Where is everybody else? So I don't know if they've actually caught up to Rivian, what the delay is, but the numbers aren't there yet. So we're gonna have to work with the state. It's not even the state, it's actually the feds, with the BLS to try to find out where's the rest of our workers that aren't being counted, because there's no way, if you look at it by industry, that we should be where we're at right now. We should be surpassing this. So the other thing we like to do, because we are a college community, last year I went into panic mode whenever we dipped below everybody else in the state, is because I realized that us and Champaign are definitely college towns. That's not good. College towns. And so if you look at seasonally adjusted, it'll flatten everything out for the summertime. But again, we're still below where we should be compared to last year. We should be well above this. So we're hoping next month's report, the month after that, it'll slowly start catching up. But like I said, if you look at the individual industries, we should be beyond. I did get a question from Charlie. I'm wanting to know if where our sales tax spending was at. Happy to report, we're still spending like crazy. That's the gray. That's right there. So we're well above anything that we had the last couple of years. So you got 2019, 2020, 2021, and we expected to go back up. If you look at 2020, once we started opening up shop, but right now, like after March, April hit, and we've been spending like crazy. I don't really expect this to slow down. If it does slow down, we could see some kind of a hit when it comes to Christmas. If you guys are paying attention to what's going on in some of the ports and things being backed up, but I don't see a sales tax distribution slowing down in our area whatsoever, because the jobs that are being created right now and added on are well-paying jobs, which means we have just more disposable income than some of our neighbors, which is something we were going to use in our attraction campaign to get people to locate here out of Chicago Metro, because a house down here is half the price of a house up there, leaving us more disposable income. Investment-wise, we also track the commercial permits that go through, not the residential permits. That's something that we could probably get Neil to talk on a little bit later, because residential is going crazy. But commercial permit wise, we've already surpassed the amount of permits that went through last year, which is good news. Investment wise though, we're not going to catch this. I mean, a lot of that was Rivian's numbers that went in last year, and they're wrapping up. They added 1 million square feet. I don't see anyone else adding 1 million square feet anytime soon, unless some other projects get through the pipeline. And as I was talking to Eric before we got started, the projects that come through, like I've worked on deals that took 12 years. Sometimes it takes 6 months, and you get that phone call, you get them matched up, and all of a sudden contact opens up shop. Other times with Ferrero, that was 2 years in the making before we got selected over Canada and Mexico. So whenever we get into some of the projects later on, you have to know that this is the beginning phase. Whenever we report these numbers, this is when the lead comes in. We could work these things for a very long time. The Midwest Inland Port in Decatur took 5 years from an idea to it actually breaking ground. So that in-game breaking ground takes some time before you actually see these investment dollars, which, I mean, Rivian got announced how long ago, and now they're all coming in, and they've exceeded everybody's expectations, and there's a lot of possibility that's going to continue in that area as well. So how did we react? We go through everything that was happening, and then we talk about overall, like what our board, where we can pull the lever on the economic development flywheel. So if you think about economic development, and we talk about this a lot, it is one big system where if you have good resources and you develop your businesses, you're going to get investment. And there's a lot of areas that we can spend our time, that the city and town can spend their time, the chamber, the CVB, everyone has their areas within here. So us as the EDC, our organization, where do we want to spend our time? We have 3 committees that focus on that. We've got a real estate development committee, a business committee, and a workforce committee. Those are the main focuses, and we each have our own initiatives underway to try to keep everybody on task. And that is where the plan comes in. So we have a strategic plan that we put together and got approved right at the end of last year. These are the 15 initiatives that are public. There are 5 more that are not public. That's for the board only. And they're still in the same order, but we're going to go over some of the things that are going on within these initiatives. And you'll see on the right-hand side, a lot of the initiatives follow in the development investment side, because that's what we're known for, is getting the deals. Developing businesses in the middle, and then at the end, developing resources. Okay, projects. We double code every project for a reason. So if a project comes in, the state will give it a name. We give it another goofy name. Sometimes if you look too closely at the names, you can probably figure out what the company is. On the far right-hand side, you'll see, those are actually backwards between industry and status. But the actual industry, there is a lot of manufacturing, lots of manufacturing kicking the tires. In the beginning, we noticed some trends when it came to what they're trying to make. They're not all related to EVs. They're all over the place. And we got confirmation from a site selection conference we held later that we're getting so many of these coming in right now because the low cost of electricity, because workforce is the #1 factor. And if you don't have workforce, you need automation. Because we have low cost of doing business, we have low cost electricity, automated manufacturing is on the way. That's what a lot of people are looking at. And also that number at the bottom, we just hit 100 projects. That is crazy. We normally only do 20 to 40. You're lucky if you get 20 to 40 projects. To have 100 this year, these are new. So this is not carrying over from what happened last year or the year before. These are the 100 projects that we're working on right now. And this is the end game, like I mentioned. You want to see that final project roll off. When it comes to Rivian, you want to see the groundbreakings at Ferrero. This is the final thing that comes out of this massive funnel. So all 100 of those, we have a very low batting average. That's just how economic development works. But every now and again, you get something that comes through that is a $75 million investment, and you can say that you are home to the 3rd Ferrero chocolate factory in the world. Like that's the end game for this. And even now, I was thinking, I don't think Rivian has actually been included in any type of award that's out there because they had not finished the project. They literally just finished the project. So we need to be submitting Rivian for every single economic development award on the planet. After that, we really pay close attention to taking care of our current businesses. We love the new shiny shovels. That's the big thing that gets all the press, but we have to take care of our current businesses that are here. Unfortunately, we lost our business retention expansion manager, Amber, who was with us before. Her and her husband actually moved to the coast. Luckily for us, we hired Casey, and I know that our friends over in Peoria would like to say that I poached him, but he is actually homegrown. He's an Illinois State graduate from the Stevenson Center, and it was one where I made the recommendation for him to go to Peoria. So he was at Peoria for about a year doing rural economic development. But before he left, he said, if you ever get an opening, let me know. And sure enough, as soon as Amber left, I said, hey, it's time to come home. So he's come home, he's in class right now, taking basic, but he is a great addition to our team, wealth of knowledge. He's actually from California, so he is a transplant, ended up coming here to go to ISU, and now we've got him back. After that, we focus on our developers, developing relationships with them. We are having quite a few developers in town. More of them are leaning towards not only being manufacturing or distribution developers, but also housing developers. Neil can attest to this. The demands for housing are not the demands that we once had. It's not the demand that me and my family have. We want a 3 and 4 bedroom Bloomington beige. That's not what everybody from the West Coast and Chicago wants anymore. We need diversity in housing. So to get diversity in housing, we have to bring in diversity in our developers. Business attraction wise, it's conference season. I'm glad these are back. We sat through quite a bit of business attraction Zooms. It's not the same. You're not building your relationships, building that rapport with the different site selectors that are out there, the businesses themselves. Before, we would go out to South Carolina, we would talk to businesses and the developers that were out there, and we'd say, hey, how can we bring you back? How can we get site selectors in our town? Actually, Corn Belt and Wabash Valley, who host a lot of these over there, said, let's host one here. So we hosted our own site selection conference, regional site selection conference here in Normal, right in Uptown. We got them the night before, we wined them and dined them up at Rob Dobbs, and then we picked their brain to find out what does it take to compete in today's market. We have a ton of feedback, but I thought this list was pretty important. And the numbers that you see off to the side are the rankings last year. So you can start to see how things are shifting around. Energy cost used to be ranked number 7 whenever a business was looking at they're going to locate now. Now it's ranked number 3. And again, they confirmed that the reason that so much automation manufacturing is looking at our area is because of the energy costs. Workforce jumped up to number 1, and it's skilled workforce. It's not even the cost of labor anymore. They want skilled workers. Highway access, we've got that. And if you look at this list, you're saying we've got that, we've got that, we've got that. And that's exactly why we're getting so many hits right now. Low cost of construction, taxes are on the list, but also the incentives. Look how low incentives are. I mean, I know a lot of people think that when it comes to economic development, it's all about the incentive game. It starts with your people. If you don't have the people, we're not doing anything. If you don't have the access to get your product out, you're not doing it. But energy, I was surprised how high energy rose. And we're going to be seeing a lot more of that. And a lot of the projects that we talked about are related to it. Standardized incentive. I wish Michael Grady was here because he told me he worked on it for 8 years and there was no way I was going to get this thing done. I know he's watching at home, but we've got it approved by all of our local bodies. So we're almost there. We just have to get it through the state, and we've got our school boards and partners that are looking to join in on that. This is going to be big for us because right now, a lot of the surrounding communities already have this in place. I've talked about it multiple times, but this is a way that says that there's an incentive program out there. Everyone in this room will know what that incentive program is. It just speeds up the approval process. So with all those 100 projects that come in, they all ask me the same thing. What do I qualify for? How long does it take to approve? Who has to approve it? Right now, without this approved, I could say it might take us 6 months. I probably have to go to 5 or 6 different boards. And I honestly don't know how much you're gonna get approved for. I mean, Rivian got a 5-year deal, Brent got a 7-year deal. I don't know what's next. But this one is a 5-year flat straight across the board, takes 2 weeks to approve. And our EDC board, which is made up of all these partners, can approve it that quick. So time is money when it comes to deals. Our One Voice project, number 6, we're hoping, fingers crossed, that we get to go out to DC next March. We go every March, and this has been a wonderful project. Anyone in this room that's interested, let us know. We're looking for projects right now that we take out there. We normally take 3 to 5 projects with us to bring dollars back. This is a very successful program. So some of the projects that you've seen that are federally funded have come off of this trip. But one of the things that we put on here, which I included in this, is the Build Back Better Regional Coalition, if anyone's wondering what that map is off to the side. So you probably noticed there's a lot of federal dollars coming out right now. And one of them is for the Build Back Better Regional Challenge. So what we have done, not us actually, it was, we'll give credit to U of I. They're the ones that got us all together and say, hey, in a region, can we all agree to 5 to 8 different initiatives and go after this funding? To say it was an undertaking to get all the universities, to get all the community colleges and all the EDOs to agree on 5 to 8 initiatives, it took some time, but luckily we have a lot of support from our friends in this room. From ISU, but then also a lot of support from Keith over at Heartland Community College to get this thing together, and it was just submitted on the 19th. We're doing this because if you make it through round 1, you have a shot at $500,000. That will help you actually go for the big money at the end, which is $25 to $75 million per region. So just like our One Voice projects, we line everything up, find out what's going to work for everybody. And we use this category, the SMART, so sustainable, manufacturing, agriculture, robotics, and transportation. A big one in here for us right now, which we're going to talk about some later when it comes to the commuting side of things, is finding out a better way to get more people to commute between our communities. We already have over 30,000 people every single day coming in. They go out the same way. This will help out with our employers. It helps out with healthcare access, but it also helps out with education. So my daughter that goes here to ISU right now, there's a class at U of I she wants to take. There should be a way to transport people back and forth. We're hoping that this kind of a network, one of the initiatives can actually do that for us. When it comes to STEM, this is really important in the workforce readiness side of things. Workforce readiness is the very first step in a whole workforce system. A couple of things that are underway is the HEAT Academy, focused on healthcare, engineering, agriculture, and technology. It's connecting the businesses with the educators all the way through. Be an Explorer is a way to expose students to some of the careers that we have. And then the last one that's on there is called The Loop. And this is where they connect teachers with businesses. So if anyone wants to host a teacher to let them know what it is and how you actually do what you do, it gives them a better understanding of what's available in our community instead of just teaching out of a teach book or a textbook. You can find more things at bnstem.org. Now, workforce attraction. This is no longer workforce attraction. We're going to launch this campaign and get a lot of people to try to move here. And then we ran out of houses in December. So no good. We've heard that we have employers that have people that want to move here, but the house is flipped literally within a day. If anyone in here is in real estate, I'm sure you used to have a lot more listings than you have this year. Things turn pretty fast. So what we did was we converted it. It's going to be a commuting campaign. We're partnering with the Pantograph. They've done some great work, and we've created a funnel system. So how this works is we'll be putting commercials, which we're hoping to share today. We made a couple last minute changes last night we haven't had yet. They'll be on YouTube, they'll be on Twitch, they'll be on your social media. For anyone that's interested in working or commuting in our area, they can go to beanadvantage.commute or .com/commute, which is a slide that I had up earlier on the website. And there is a guide that tells you why you should commute here and join the other 30,000 people that come in every single day. But also you can drop your name, your email, and what industry you're interested in. It comes into a funnel system, and then we kick that out to any headhunter that's interested in commuters. So our friends at Rivian, at Brandt, if they're struggling finding people that are interested in manufacturing, hopefully we're gonna have a huge lead list for them that we can start sending them weekly of anyone interested in commuting to Bloomington-Normal. We also added all the wonderful food that we have because we have some food options that a lot of their people don't have. So they can grab that on the way home. The other one, with all the grant programs coming out, we have BN Forward that's launched. Along with BN Forward is another program called BN Rise, and we have a grant writer number right now. So there's a 1-800 number of consultants that'll help out anyone interested in applying for a zillion grants that are available on grants.gov. We were having a hard time tracking everything that was coming through. And whenever we did the county grants, somebody gracefully gave out my cell phone number. So my cell phone started blowing up. Before we started pushing these again, I'm like, I don't want my number on there. So we hired some grant consultants that will actually help a company fill out the grants and walk them through the process as they continue to be released. Also, the grant matching system is available as well on bnbiz.org right at the top of the screen. You can click on that and it'll take you to a way to register to get notified of new grants. And then there can be someone to help you out. That's not me, which will free up some time. Economic gardening. This is a really cool concept where we've allocated funds at the EDC where we can help out local businesses grow from within. So we've got a lot of great people that are really good at making widgets, or they're really good at selling certain things, but they might not know finance. They might not know strategic planning. They might not know financing. If anyone in here is a consultant that we could match up with somebody, let us know. We want to make sure that you're in that database. One of them we did for Project Buck was they needed help walking them through like what an actual model of an expansion would look like, 3 different versions of this model. So we hired a consultant to come in that would build them a model that they could take to the bank and actually take to a local municipality to make a formulated ask. I mean, it's one thing if you're really good at making this product and you're asking, how in the heck did that company over there get that incentive? Well, you have to formulate an ask. To formulate an ask, you have to be able to say, there's a gap in my model. They didn't have a model. They just know they wanted to grow. So we hooked them up with a consultant that could help them grow from within. So right now we're looking for more projects and we're looking for more consultants. So if you know anyone looking to grow, let us know. We can help pay for someone, whether that's marketing, strategic planning, finance, anything and above. The next one that we had was a rural development fellowship. With this, we had hoped to actually get a Stevenson Center fellow, which Casey was, to help us out to reach out to more rural communities. We did not get selected. There were more people that, more businesses that applied than students that were available. High demand for our Stevenson fellows. So instead, we partnered with Heartland Community College and we converted this to a full-time business retention and expansion coordinator. This is someone that will go out with Casey and expand the reach of our retention efforts right now. We're probably going to be hiring this at the beginning of next year. So if you know anybody that would like an entry-level position into economic development, this is a great way to tag along in economic development to learn more about our companies and also help them grow from within. The next one, virtual tours. We really want to take some of our, I'd say, properties that we have that have a lot of potential and either get drone footages, 3D models done, virtual augmented reality property tours. And one of them that we have, Carl's definitely in a room with help from Neil. We've got our first site showcase. Now, these site showcases are ways that you can really put together an entire package, a flip book for one property. Right now, all the properties in town are listed on our website, but they're not being hand delivered to somebody. So whenever we go to shows, they're always like, tell me about your community. I can tell them all about the wonderful things that are going on now. Next question is, how can I get involved? What's your available sites? We're trying to put together virtual tours that'll give them something to look at, something to take home with them to keep us in mind. And this is what they all ask for. They want to know what the traffic counts are, where my workforce is coming from, who your major employers are. This is only one page within this package that Sierra had put together. It's a wonderful document that we'll load up on our website as well, but it's something that we can take to these showcases with us. And then the last three, which actually we're going to talk about when it comes to what we're going to be doing going forward. But we want to have a community vision because I mean, it's Bloomington-Normal, it's BN, but I mean, what does that mean? I got here and we had the BN advantage and I asked everybody in town what the BN advantage was. Guess how many answers I got? Every single person told me something different about what BN advantage meant to them. So we will be working on that going forward. The Smart City Infrastructure Collaborative. This is one that we're actually going to be working on a website to help tell everybody what that is. And afterwards, if you want more information, I'll let Jamie take all those questions. He's been leading that effort. And the last one is the establishing community framework for our startup companies. There's a ton of potential for startups. Rivian's a startup. And we've got a great example here, great talent, a lot of trailing spouses. Right now, you can go to the SBDC, you can get a really good business plan, but then after that, where do you go? So there's the rest of the infrastructure is missing. And that's where we're going to talk about what we're going to do going forward. All right. Next on the list, workforce development strategic plan. I mean, we've got the readiness thing under control. There are some retention efforts going on with the Chamber of Commerce. They do a wonderful job. I think that's kicking off tomorrow, right, Charlie? Is that the thing that I'm teaching?
That's LMC.
LMC. Okay, 2 weeks. He's got a lot going on. Anyway, the goal of the retention side is we have all this talent coming in. They're coming in from other areas. We need to get them embedded in our community. We're relying heavily on the chamber for that. The next one on the list is upskilling. This is where the universities come in. This is where Heartland Community College comes in. And it's all about taking the underemployed. I'm a formerly underemployed bartender for about 10 years. That's how long it took me to get through community college before I finally went to Millikan and then Notre Dame. There's a lot of untapped potential around here. And that's why we have to rely on the upskilling programs, because not only do we have the available programs out of Heartland Community College, and they just announced they're creating another one for a candy manufacturing one, but there's also federal dollars available to help you pay to get through that. We need more people linked up in that system. And the next side is, of course, the attraction, which is on pause until we get more houses, but we're going to be focusing on the commuting side, which we've already talked about. We know where we're at right now. We're going to be partnering with the Chamber of Commerce and also United Way to find out how we can expand that and where do we want to be when we grow up. We need to walk through the same process that we did to get this strategic plan for economic development for workforce. Because right now it's great to have everyone communicating on what they're working on, but we need to find out what those gaps are, especially because so many federal dollars are coming through for workforce. We need to take advantage of those. The next one, the Entrepreneurship Inventory. This is something I touched on a little bit. And also you'll notice the things that we're going to be working on this next quarter and going into next year are things that were at the very bottom of our list. As we check off the standardized incentive and one voice and those under control, everything else starts bumping up the ladder. So entrepreneurship inventory is one of them. Right now, if somebody comes to me, I can tell them, if you want to start a business, you don't have a plan, go to the SBDC. They will get you a plan. If you need someone for a shared space, I know TinTac has shared space, and so does the Chamber of Commerce. After that, there's a lot of things that some other communities have that we don't have. I know there's scattered angel investors around this community. There used to be a network of those too. There's different startup coffee events that you can have to talk about, to pitch ideas, pitch competitions. But if you look at what Peoria has, you look at what Champaign has compared to what we have a long way to go. So where we did the inventory before for our workforce system, we want to do the same thing for entrepreneurship. So we'll be working on the plan for workforce, inventorying everything for entrepreneurship. Hopefully we'll have a site online that will link all these things together, show us what we have and what we don't have. So eventually we can get a plan for entrepreneurship as well. Back to that flywheel that showed everything. All those gears need to be spinning to have a successful economy. Otherwise we're leaving things out. And right now, this is one that I think that we're really leaving out. We have some basic resources, but there's a lot more we can be doing. And then this one, who's ready to start being advantage over again? We need a community vision. We are going to, next year, the board got together and decided this is something that we need to take on. We need a new brand. We're going to hire a company to come in and lead us through this process. They'll take everybody here, everybody else in the community as well, to find out who we are and more importantly, where we want to be down the road, because we don't have a brand right now. I think we're in DC and somebody asked us, what do you guys call yourselves? Some people said BN, some people said Bloomington-Normal, somebody said Blow-No. Somebody says, I hate when people say Blow-No. That's not a good look. You know, we're supposed to have this united one voice message on what we are, but we don't have that yet. So this is what we're going to do this. We're going to hire somebody. When I was in Nashville for the conference a couple of weeks ago, it was the International Economic Development Conference. Tons of vendors there, probably 4 or 5 of them specialize in community branding. So we'll hire one of those to come in, lead us through this effort, get everybody's feedback, find out what we are. And then we're also planning on hiring a marketing and branding specialist at the EDC to keep it going for 3 to 5 years afterwards, hopefully beyond. Because the last thing I want from this is it to end up on a shelf. You don't want to do a plan, have this brand and have it sit there. So if anybody knows anybody in marketing and branding that would also like to work at the EDC, we're going to set aside dollars for that as well once we get through this process to be that champion of the brand going forward. But this is going to be key because, again, we're changing. We're not the company or the community that I knew whenever I was a student here. We were before, it was all education, it was all healthcare, and it was insurance. And now manufacturing is on the rise, and it's innovative manufacturing. So how can we capitalize on that? And the diversity that we have. I ended up teaching the basic course about 3 weeks ago, and they asked me to teach on the development side of things because the diversity I had in my experience. When I was in Decatur, we were a manufacturing town. When I was in Tinley Park, we were in a bedroom community because everybody commuted to Chicago. They were really known for their breweries and hotels and tourism. Whenever I looked at this place, and I chose Bloomington-Normal, I chose it for a reason. I mean, you guys have some wonderful projects underway, but the untapped resources that we have in this community, I mean, we're not really one thing. We're very diverse. We are a college town. We're prime for distribution. We've got manufacturing on the rise, and we have talent for days. That's the part that we have to take advantage of, is that pipeline of talent. How do we get them to stick around? And they're not going to stick around if they're from Chicago and they just think that everything south of I-80 is cornfields. They have to leave this bubble here at ISU. You've made a wonderful facility here and no reason to ever leave. But whenever we surveyed the students and we said, what do you want your community to stick around? They told us they wanted a farmer's market. I'm like, are you kidding me? We have a farmer's market. They said, we need something to do like Topgolf. And I'm like, well, there's Blow-No Pizza. Like, we have the things that you're asking for, but you don't leave the bubble. So whenever it comes to that retention efforts with the chamber, it's getting them out and about. It's making those connections with the businesses in this room, because yeah, it's a great place to raise a family, but there's so much more, especially with all the transplants that we have right now. We have to tell that story, and this brand has to be a part of it. So anyone that wants to get involved with that, let me know how you can help. So one, if you have not met with Casey yet, which I guarantee most of you haven't because he just started like 3 weeks ago, highly recommend talking to Casey, do a BRE visit, let him know what your needs are, especially with all the federal programs coming out right now. We want to play matchmaker and make sure you're aware of all the grants and anything else that's going on and any challenges that you have. We have enough experience, especially with that regional group that got together for the Build Back Better program. Even if we don't get the money, the fact that we all got together and we decided here's where we want to go, that's a really strong voice. Because when I was in Chicagoland, they had a very strong voice for the state of Illinois. Everybody listened to Chicago. This is our opportunity to use that same voice to take your concerns and change how the state does business. Another one I didn't put on here, she just started yesterday, but Lauren Gibson used to work for regional planning here in McLean County. She is now our Team Red representative for the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. And guess where her office is? At our EDC. So we have a direct link to DCO now right in our office. So that's gonna be another wonderful addition to let them know exactly what our needs are. If you have available property, when I know our realtors do a wonderful job of this, make sure that Nick has them. If we don't have them, you're not in the game. We have 100 projects. And if a project comes in and we don't know you have an available site or available land, it doesn't get submitted. So we need to know all the available properties in town. Stephanie also started. So during this last quarter, not only did I lose Amber, but I also lost Becky. So Becky retired, Amber moved away, and we had to hire 2 new people. So we just got Stephanie to start as well. She's our office manager, and she has the task of trying to keep all of us under control. Good luck, Stephanie. But if you want to get on any of our committees, let us know. She'll get you hooked up. And last but not least, if you want to join the EDC or talk shop, I mean, after this at any time, I'm always available. Let me know your thoughts. We want to try to make sure that we're meeting everybody's needs, because we are here for every single resident. We're here for every single business. We want to make sure that everybody is thriving on all levels. So there's my number. And with that, I will take questions. Oh, and if you want a deeper dive, because back in the day, when I first started, we have guest speakers come in at these. So we do a little bit of numbers and someone will give an update. Now we do weekly podcasts, so you can hear all about the wonderful things going on at Bloomington-Normal. And I'll take questions except for Samsung. Stumped him. All right. Any questions out there? Too much information at once? All right, don't think so. Don't see any online either. All right, well, with that, thanks everybody for coming. And again, you got my cell phone number, and hit me up sometime. Have a good one.